What's good? What's good? I was just looking at my beard and it's looking really full right now. And that's because I used a beard wash last night and a beard oil. I normally don't do that. If you watch my last video, I talked about ways I save and make money while living in my van. Yes, I live in my van. One of the ways that I save money is by neglecting various personal hygiene investments. And one of those has been my beard. I just don't do a beard wash. I don't do a beard oil. I just use my hair conditioner that is also my beard wash, that is also my body wash. But it was on clearance. That's another way to save money, especially if you need to save money. Shop the clearance areas. And it was a combo, a beard wash and a beard oil. You get one of each, a little bit. It was $4. I was like, okay, I have $4 right now. Thank God. I'm not like doing great, but I'm also not, thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. I mean, I have my van loan and a credit card with a balance, but I'm not stressing right now and it's nice. But I am anxious to get out of the van. I would like to find an apartment, or I can't afford an apartment. I literally, because most apartments are $1,200 to $1,500, even for a one bedroom. Even a studio is like $1,000, right? And because I do gig work, I don't have like a W-2 pay stub. That makes it really hard also. I have my earnings records, but a lot of people, it's just not the same as, here's my pay stub. It's like, no, I have to collect all my earnings records from all the apps that I use. And it's just a pain. But I'm anxious to get out of the van. I would love to just find a garage that I could put a bed in and a little heater. For $600. That seems fair to me. That's doable. That's fair. But this economy is crazy. 100% will not argue that this economy is crazy. And the title of this video might trigger some people. And I just want to say, I want to make space for people who are currently triggered about the fact that Donald J. Trump is now president again. I understand your stress. I understand your sadness, your fear, all of that. And I just want to plant this seed that a lot of people felt those same sensations or similar sensations when Biden took office, because they knew he was going to wreck the economy like he did, like they did. You can't just blame Biden. It's the whole apparatus. And for the record, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. If you want to get technical, I'm an anarchist. I hate all government. However, we have to endure these systems that were created long before our birth and that will probably exist long after our death. Though I do believe we should be actively seeking to dismantle them, I'm not crazy to think we'll have a lot of success in the next coming decades. Doesn't mean we shouldn't be doing it. I'm just being real. However, I do hope that the little ways Donald Trump will be different than Joe Biden, because it's only going to be little that he's different, because they're both just puppets to something bigger than they are, but they have a little bit of like wiggle room. I think, I hope that if we can get the border situation secured, get that figured out, address some of the influx of people that have come here, in addition to the social benefits that they are receiving. So we lower the demand for housing. That'll help, one. If two, we can get rid of, there's all this talk about getting rid of government bureaucracy. I'm skeptical, but hopeful. If we can get rid of certain bureaucracies that make building houses expensive and time consuming because of permitting, licenses, inspections, mandates. For example, like in California, I think all new houses have to have solar. Like, why? That's so dumb. That is so dumb. When we need houses, we should just be able to build these little 20 by 20, 400 square foot mini houses that don't have a lot. They don't have smart meters and they don't have solar panels, but you know what? They're just a space for people. They're a little warmth. They're a little shelter. That's all that we want right now. Hopefully getting rid of all of this DEI nonsense. I love people and I want people to succeed and I want people to thrive, but there's a certain level of them needing to earn their place in society. If we can get rid of bureaucracy, we can reinstall merit, we can stop the freaking government spending. Trump didn't really stop it in his first term, so we'll see if he does this term. But if we can address the inflation, the hyperinflation, we're undergoing a cost of living crisis right now. And that's not my term. I saw another YouTuber use that term and I was like, it's so true. There is a cost of living crisis. Even the heavy cream for my coffee has doubled in the last 3 to 4 years. The cost, it used to be like $4. Now it's not like $8 for that. Other ways. Okay, hold on. There's a new feature. There's a pause. I want to try this pause. Okay, I'm back. I like this because my thoughts they don't flow. So immigration, if we address immigration, if we address the exorbitant government spending in connection with social welfare programs that actually drive up the demand or drive up the immigration problem, but then also just drive up the inflation problem because it's money that doesn't need to be spent or doesn't need to be printed. Bringing jobs back, that's another one that I'm really hopeful for. I have a master's degree in business administration. I once worked for Boeing in supply chain. I just decided I did not want to be working that closely with the military industrial complex. And so I left. I left not realizing how bad, and I left in like 2017 maybe. And I didn't realize that it would be really difficult to find even a job that paid like 2/3 of what Boeing did. That's kind of how they buy your soul, is they pay you well. Help them build military planes, sell your soul, but you get money. I didn't like that. And then I got laughed at when I was told that, like, you know, I'm expecting $50,000 to $60,000 a year jobs because when I was working for them, I was getting 90. I was getting close to 100K. And so I was like, yeah, I know I might work for a smaller company, but I still should be worth 50 to 60K. I got laughed at by friends and like those friends that own businesses. And that's kind of like when my downward spiral really began. But fuck, 2 years ago, I may have already I tell the story a lot because it still bugs me. It still bugs me. I was working in a fish packing warehouse, right? So we'd go pick up the seafood, not actually fish, but geoduck, if you know what geoduck are. We go pick up from the farmers or the guys on the boat who harvested the geoduck, take it to the warehouse, pack it, weigh it, and then drive it to the airport to be shipped to China. I was working there making $20 an hour. Not great, not bad, you know, but I was only getting 20 to 30 hours a week. And I was like, hey, I'll work 50 hours if you give me 50 hours, please. How can I get more hours? And they're like, oh, well, we see that you have supply chain experience on your resume and you work really hard. We actually want to promote you. And I was super excited. I was like, finally, I'm getting back to the 50 to 60K range. Let's go. My life was about to just shoot up. And then, a week later when it actually came time for to discuss the details, I remember this vividly. There were two guys, one majority owner, one minority owner of the company. The minority owner, we walk into the office and he, goes to talk and he's like, oh, let me close the door first. And he closes the door and he's like, all right, so we want to start you off at 46K. And it hit me. It was a very visceral feeling. It just hit me like 46K. I'm making 20 right now. If I work 45, 50 hours a week at the 20 I'm making now, I'll make more than the 46K. And you want me to work 45, 50 hours a week. And they didn't want me to do DoorDash and other things on the side because part of the job, it required, being available to interface with not only the buyers in China in a completely different time zone, but then also the boatsmen here in the Pacific Northwest that actually go do the harvesting. So I'm having an interface with China. I'm having an interface with the boaters. I'm also managing the crew of people who will be going and picking up the product and packing. So this is a lot of responsibility. Nothing I'm afraid of. I've done management. I've done supply chain. I was extremely excited and ready for this job, but not at that low of a salary. I didn't want to have to go to work, like having to compartmentalize all that fucking stress and then be responsible for a lot. No, if you want someone to perform, you got to pay them. If you want someone to take on responsibility, you got to know that they're not stressing when they're at home. And at $46K in Washington State in 2020, this was in 2022, that's not good. That's not buying someone comfort so they can bring their best self to work. This whole video has gotten a little off subject, but not, because if we can bring back manufacturing, if we can bring back those supply chain jobs, those manufacturing jobs that pay 50, 60, 70, 80,000 or more, especially once you've been with a company, companies that reward loyalty. If we can bring that back, we can restore America. People want to work. Like everybody says, if we deport all the illegal immigrants, who's going to do the construction work? We will, at a good, fair rate. That's who. It's not that hard. Sorry, I'm getting a little worked up, but thank you for listening. If you listen to this long, I don't love Donald J. Trump, but I do think he can help us get out of our homeless situation. Please, God, help us. Much love, y'all.